Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to ask you all to please rise at this time for the presentation of colors and paramedic class number 1. At this time, I ask that you all join me in the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I now ask that you join us in a moment of silence for all fallen firefighters. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, I would like Martin County Fire Rescue's chaplain, Reverend Bruce Irwin, to lead us in prayer.
Just a few words. First, they said I could say just a sentence or two. And I want to say that I represent not only Martin County Fire Rescue, but I also represent the community because I'm a volunteer. And something that all of you maybe don't hear often enough is the deep appreciation the community has for you. I was sitting at ACE one day, and these people came over to me and talked about all the things that they appreciate. I live in Cedar Point. That should say enough in and of itself, and those people appreciate what you've done. And this appreciation is there. And so you've been trained to do something very important. And you've had the skills to do something very important. It's to care for people. And not many people have those skills. And you have a gift that has been given to you by the fire company, but also by a higher power. So I encourage you to think about that as you make the calls every day when you do it. Let us unite our hearts and minds and pray to the God whom we pray to. Loving God, who is with us at all challenges and all of our celebrations, be with us in this celebration tonight. We thank you for the lives, the heart, the intellect, the courage of the men and women who are graduating as paramedics tonight. Eternal presence, go with each paramedic into every situation in which they will find themselves. In every time of stress, God, grant them clear minds, wise judgment, and physical dexterity to meet every challenge. God, we also thank you for the families and loved ones of these graduating today. Continue to give the families and loved ones the ability to support and forgive and encourage each and every one of the graduates. And God of courage and strength, continue to be with the family to which we all belong, Martin County Fire Rescue, but above that, to all of those who are in this same brotherhood of fighting fires, of caring for people's physical needs. We thank you for the instructors, particularly of these graduates. For every team needs good leadership, which is both caring and effective. And so, God, we ask that you might especially be with all of these leaders, be with our chief, Chief Schobel, with the battalion chiefs and the captains and all who are leaders of this wonderful organization, so that together, as a team, they may continue to serve the Martin County community. May they always be aware of their vital responsibility as leaders, but may they never be overwhelmed by its task as well. And so, God, we ask that you might bless these graduates, protect them, and always be with them. Amen.
All right, in your programs it says that Bureau Chief Heather Crary will be here. Unfortunately, she is not going to be here tonight, but she did write a letter that I'm going to read on her behalf. Good evening, and thank you all for coming here tonight to celebrate the completion of the inaugural paramedic program for Coral Springs Regional Institute of Public Safety at Martin County Fire Rescue. I apologize for my absence tonight. Please know that I am here with you all through these words. Much like I was with each and every student and instructor through the highs and lows of this program, you all make me so proud. I want to talk about the meaning of some of the words that we all hear frequently. Honor. Honor is defined as outward respect and an evidence or symbol of distinction. This past year, those who dedicated a huge portion of their life have been the epitome of honor for not one, but two agencies. Going forward, our paramedics bring honor to the profession as well as to their department, Martin County Fire Rescue. 2 counties away, every one of you brings honor to Coral Springs Regional Institute of Public Safety. Perseverance. As I read a specific definition of perseverance that I thought, as I read a specific definition of perseverance that I thought was appropriate here. Perseverance is a steady persistence in a course of action, a purpose, a state, especially in spite of difficulties, obstacles, or discouragement. I couldn't think of anything that more accurately described this last year. No matter what was encountered, each and every one of you adapted and overcame. Don't ever stop. Discipline. I have seen many definitions of discipline, but the one that I feel most accurately describes this class is that discipline is more than a motivation. Discipline pushes past the desire to quit when motivation runs out. I think we all learned about discipline and how good it feels to accomplish such an important goal. As I said, this class was a unique experience from the very beginning. The pressure was on before the class even started to ensure that we maintained the high standards that were well established by CS RIPS, and also because these were already our brothers and sisters, and they trusted us. A truly incredible thing happened as we progressed through the months, chapters, skills, clinical experiences, and opportunities we didn't even think would be possible. A fire service family banded together. Everyone brought their A game, and as instructors, I think we learned just as much from the students. Graduates, congratulations. You're not students anymore. Through trust, discipline, and perseverance, you made it. Every one of you has proven many times over how much you really deserve this, and I couldn't be more proud. The professionalism and willingness to continue to learn fires me up to see all that you will accomplish in your careers. We will always be right here to facilitate that. And the words of the well-known quote, "In this family, no one fights alone." Thank you, Chief Schobel and Chief McGilloway, for the support that you both so willingly gave every single time I asked. Thank you also to all the administrative staff from Martin County Fire Rescue and Coral Springs Regional Institute of Public Safety. I won't name everyone specifically or we would be here all night, but none of us would be here without you. Now, go kill it on the National Registry exam. You are ready. Thank you. So before we get into our guest speakers this evening, there were some special guests that we would like to take the opportunity to recognize here tonight. As I call your name, if you could please stand, and if we could hold the applause till the very end, that would be appreciated. With us this evening, we have County Commissioner Ed Campy. We have Deputy County Administrator Don Donaldson, Assistant County Administrator George Stokes, Martin County Tax Collector Ruth Ski, Martin County School Board, Christia Lee Roberts, Town of Ocean Breeze Vice President Ann Cagdis, from Senator Joe Negron's office, Holly Demers. We have the Deputy Clerk of Court, Sherry Van Cura, Chief William Schobel, Martin County Fire Rescue, William Pesci, Emergency Management Deputy Agency Director, Daniel Waters, Division Chief of Administration, Kevin Herndon, Division Chief of Operations, Chris Stabile, Bureau Chief of Rescue, Carl Holtkamp, Bureau Chief of Training and Safety, Matt Resch, who's our Fire Rescue Administrator. We also have Dr. Michael Ferraro, who is the Medical Director. We have Chief Robert McGilloway from Coral Springs, and Chief Michael Caldero, also of Coral Springs. We could give them all a round of applause. At this time, I'd like to call up our first guest speaker, who is Martin County Fire Rescue Chief William Schobel.
Good evening. Thank you for everyone for just being here. This is a very special occasion for us at Martin County Fire Rescue. I can't thank you enough. Not only the leadership in the county, leadership for the department, but community is represented, the people that we serve every day. Thank you for what you do. And I want to just recognize, because I know we've got a lot of recognition here, but we've got military veterans, firefighters, law enforcement officers, other public safety officials, teachers, nurses, doctors, small business owners. You're all a part of our community, and that's why we're here. So thank you so much. I need to give you an applause. First, I'd like to start off by inviting a gentleman up here. He's a little bit shy when it comes to large crowds, so maybe we can give him a round of applause and kind of encourage him to get up and speak for just a few minutes. Our chairman of the Board of County Commissioners, Ed Campy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief has yielded the remainder of his time to me, and I appreciate that very much, Chief. Thank you. Listen, despite what you might believe, I don't need to speak into every microphone that I see. But given the opportunity tonight to speak to you all, when the Chief invited me to, I said I wanted to, for a couple of reasons. I want to speak first to the generations. I want to speak to the men and women who have either retired or are senior members of the department. I want to thank you. Because what we are celebrating today, you blazed forward for us with your hard work, your innovation, your ideas, and your blood, sweat, and tears, and we thank you for that. And to the group that's here, that we're celebrating their graduation, but to all the current brothers and sisters of our department, I want to say thank you. Because Martin County residents are the safest residents in the state and probably in the country, and when they dial 911, they don't even think about it. They just know they're getting ready to have the best service, the fastest service, the most well-equipped service that they can get. And that's what they deserve, that's what they expect, and that's what they're going to get from you all. So we very much appreciate it. I want to speak to the families, because when you open the front door and you send your son or daughter or husband or wife or brother out, you want to make sure that they're coming home. That when they're out helping people through the worst days of their lives, it doesn't turn into the worst day of your life. And that's where we're responsible. And so on behalf of my colleagues, most of them, I would say that it's our promise to you that we will make sure you are fairly paid, that you are very highly recognized for your service, that you will have the best equipment, the most up-to-date equipment, the safest equipment. You will work and sleep and live in facilities that not only you deserve, that our community can be proud of. Some of the facilities that some of you are having to deal with currently is unacceptable. And the board and our staff at the county level, we make a promise to you that that will end. The fire stations that need to be replaced will be replaced. The fire stations that need improvements so that you can just live like basics, human needs, we will correct and repair and replace the things that need to be replaced. A training facility in your own county so you don't have to travel all over the state and the region to get the proper training that's necessary. I'm promising you today, we will deliver on those things. We owe it to you because you have dedicated your lives, and literally your lives, to the members of this community, and we owe it to you, and you will get it. Thank you very much.
Doc, I'd like to recognize you. You were recognized earlier, but you weren't here yet. This gentleman has done so much for the program, and unfortunately, he works a very busy schedule with everything he does, so he had to cut out from the ER just to come over here. Dr. Ferraro, thank you.
Chief, thank you. It's a pleasure to be working with such a great department, and I think we're all for the changes that are coming. And thank you all for your time and dedication to everyone.
All right, I'll talk without walking around, something I'm not used to, but I'll try to stay put here for a little bit. Let's wind back. It's August right now. I know there's a brisk breeze in the air. Not really, but hey, at least football is back, right? Let's dial back to 1986. Connor, that's what, 32 years ago? Something like that? Yeah. Jim, before you were born, yeah. We had this conversation the other day. Jimmy, you're pretty good at drug calcs now, is that right? 32 years? Good? All right. I got to pick on some of you guys. August of 1986, I actually was graduating from paramedic school. And I embarked on this, you know, I was already a firefighter EMT for the fire department, but I reminisce quite a bit just with graduating and then all of a sudden the realization of, uh-oh, I'm in charge of patient care now on scenes. That's a big responsibility. It is. What they're willing to do and what I want to get across tonight is just relaying what a big commitment it is, not only to become a paramedic, but to become a Martin County Fire Rescue paramedic. We don't take anything we do lightly. It doesn't matter, fire, EMS, hazmat, TERT, aeromedical, it doesn't matter. We do it all, and we take it very seriously because you deserve, the community, the best level of service. But I kind of just reflected a bit, you know, and I was looking back and thinking, I remember my first shift as a paramedic, and I had to have a pen, an ink pen. You guys don't need that anymore, though, right? We have computers with stylets and all that kind of good stuff. I had to have a watch with a second hand that worked. This was a requirement. This was standard operating procedures. They issued us a fanny pack. Yes, I was rocking the fanny pack. That's right. Y'all getting a visual yet? A lot of cool stuff in there. But it just kept the tools of the trade, some job aids and so forth, and it really was important, and I took it very seriously. Every morning, it wasn't just checking out your equipment and making sure you were set to go, but it was the fact that so many people depended on us to be our best. That selfless service type of mentality. Truly, the choices made before shift transitioned to quality performance during shift. And I can't emphasize that enough. Well, let's fast forward to 2016. Here we are at Martin County. We have a little bit of an issue. We have a classification of folks, our firefighter paramedics, and we're missing quite a few. And we really, really needed to try to figure out a way to resolve this. Well, we have a lot of smart, qualified, dedicated people that are just fantastic. And it's like, wait a minute, why don't we just invest in ourselves? This makes sense. Reached out around, kind of got some feelers out, and lo and behold, there was kind of an impromptu meeting with Chief McGilloway, Chief McNally. Who else was there, Rob? Liz Williams? Right, might have been? All right. Well, this impromptu meeting led to a discussion and led to an idea. And I said, you know, what do you think? He says, well, what do you want to get out of this? And I said, well, Rob, I'll tell you what I want to get out of it. The best paramedics we can, because that's what we're all about. He goes, okay, I'm in. We'll figure it out. And you kind of lead this, you know, how many times have you had discussions like that with an idea and just, hey, it might work? Well, the commitment we got from Coral Springs was second to none. And oh, by the way, they happen to be the #1 academy in the nation. So why not build a relationship with the best? It will yield the best, which it has. All right. I can't get up here and talk without telling a couple war stories, so I will. One of the stories I had, and this is just kind of goes back to the equipment, and it's going to be the importance of checking out your equipment, making sure everything's there every day. New medic just got on, was assigned to a station, and obviously back then, and I see some of my cohorts out here that have been in the service for a long time. Matt Himes, I'm going to call you out. Yeah. And, you know, we reminisce about this. We were the only paramedics on the scene. There were no other medics there to turn around and look to. So we kind of learned that you rely on yourself and you make sure you're prepared. Well, what do we do in the fire service? We get there early, right? Because if the bell hits, which we know it's going to happen, we don't want that off-going crew to have to take a call and then be gone for another hour, hour and a half. So we get there early, take a call. Before I get the chance to check out the equipment, we arrive on scene right down the street. This is my crew, and I've got a woman in her late 20s in cardiac arrest because unfortunately she was huffing Freon. Her husband was an AC contractor, And it was a bad scene. You know, it's weird when we dial back this because you can vividly remember everything about it. It was terrazzo floor. I can remember the layout of the home, and I remember this woman laying there literally dead, but biological death is reversible, right? So what happens is our clinical death is reversible. So the key was we started to go to work, and right across the hall, both of her kids, her young kids, were banging on the door yelling for her mother and just beating on the door and screaming bloody murder. And guess who's responsible for reviving mom? Again, be prepared. I cannot tell you enough. You have to be prepared every shift for what if happens. Well, the problem was we started CPR, obviously dropped a tube and so forth, and what's the one thing I open up? The O2 caddy, and there's no stethoscope. And any paramedic here in the room knows we need to auscultate lung sounds once we drop a tube, right? Wasn't there. Luckily, in my fanny pack, I carried my own. So, it was a good outcome. Obviously, the father had recognized, the husband had recognized her unconscious very quickly, and we were able to revive her, and it was a good outcome. The problem is we don't get those positive outcomes all the time. But I want to share that with you to understand the commitment and the responsibility that they're dealing with, and it's unbelievable. So again, this goes back to the quality and the dedication of folks in Martin County Fire Rescue. One more quick war story. This is a funny one. A few shifts later, I'm at the same station, and this just kind of goes to people trust us with just about anything, and it's amazing. But back in the day, hospitals could refuse patients. They didn't have to take you in at the ER. So this woman was in labor. They called from a payphone. Everybody know what a payphone is, right? Okay. They called from a payphone right under the ER receiving door, and they couldn't get into the ER because the hospital wouldn't accept their insurance. So we arrive, we get off the unit, and of course the father's jumping up and down. He's yelling at me as I'm walking over the car, putting on a glove, and gloves were new back then. We didn't wear gloves all the time. Thank God I had a glove on. And just had a glove on the right hand, and he's saying, I see the head, I see the head. So immediately what I do, she's sitting in the front seat, kind of facing outside the door. I place my hand between her legs, putting gentle pressure on the baby's head, and said, don't push. By the way, my name's Bill. I'm a paramedic. How often can you get away with that? All right. Coral Springs, thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The leadership in the county, thank you. I can't do it without you. You know, your trust, it's unbelievable. Oh, by the way, our county administrator, she would be here tonight. She was very disappointed, but that gal goes 24/7, 365. She had another commitment to a leadership program in the county that she had to be at. She sends her apologies. She is with us in spirit, and she is proud as can be of us. So I can't thank you enough. Families, thank you. Thank you for your support. We need you to support these folks as they move through. And again, did I not say the first day this is going to be an arduous process? Was I telling the truth? You guys persevered, though. Pretty cool. Instructors, wow. Amazing. The quality, like I said, invest in ourselves. The quality of the instruction that we had, they were our own people. Our own. Stepped up to the plate. I want every single instructor, please, to stand that was part of this program. You guys rock. Again, back to Doc. Couldn't have done it without you. Can't do it without the staff that we've got, the leadership, everybody here. It's amazing. These folks up in administration, they just don't stop. They keep going and going, and it's evidenced by every day. And like I said, there's no words to describe it. It takes a team. I do nothing. We can move mountains, and we did it. So, to Paramedic Class 1, from your fire chief, well done. Am I supposed to introduce the next guy? To a colleague, to a friend, to a great chief, Rob McGilloway. Come on up.
Thank you, sir. I've never done one of these before, so I'm going to be a little bit nervous. Probably only my 250th of running a school. But it's a pleasure to be here tonight. It's a great honor to see this class graduate. I appreciate Chief's words. I appreciate everything that happened here in Martin County. I am extremely thankful for the commission for supporting his vision and supporting what could happen here in Martin County. We've been running a school for a few years now down in Coral Springs, and to have this opportunity here in Martin County to branch out to support a department that is so willing and so creative and on the forefront of what's happening in fire and EMS, the partnership was very simple and it was very easy, and I am very proud to have that. So first, I need to thank my fire chief, Frank Babnick, who allowed me to do that, and also the county commission, again, who supported that with Chief Schobel. Where's Instructor Bradley? Where is he? Come on over here this way, please. Captain Crary, please. These two gentlemen, and I'm so sorry that tonight is taking place without Bureau Chief Crary as well, meeting them for the first time and having a sit down and trying to pick out instructors and how we were going to do this and how this was going to lay out was really easy. They stepped up so quick and so fast and took the reins of this process. And I need to mention also, I have Battalion Chief Caldero and Instructor Botting, who was a liaison for our program down south that worked with these guys to make sure that they had the tools they needed to do to bring the best class out of Martin County. And I think without their guidance and without their process, without their drive, I'm telling you, drive between Chief Crary and her husband with phone call after email, was phenomenal. But it was fantastic, and we're glad that we got these 21 candidates as EMTs to graduate and be part of Martin County's paramedic program. So again, with that said, it was a great process, but I couldn't do it without these gentlemen. For the class, congratulations. 14 months of our program, couple ups, couple downs. We had a very good system in place, but we didn't know what to expect. The next class that we will do, which we will be doing, I believe, will be a little bit better, but it's always hard to beat the first. You guys set a high bar. You guys put yourselves in a platform and a place where I am most proud of. I have a lot of graduates who go from EMT to paramedic and just go out to get their job, but not to actually enhance their career inside their department and make a difference for their community in-house. So congratulations to the 21. The only thing I'd like for Chief Schobel to do is bring back the fanny bags and make sure they wear them. That's going to be my one request if we move forward. That'd be pretty cool, right? They're like, no. But with that, I said I am up here as a test to Chief Schobel's view, and I'm glad we were able to partner, and I look forward to doing that for a long time coming as we can continue molding this region and molding our views. The only thing I have more on the job is For us, this year pretty much changed the landscape and the scope of how we do things. February 14th for us was probably the worst tragedy you will ever see in our region or our area. And unfortunately, myself and Chief Caldera were there for the entire ordeal and days after the fact. Everything that happened in that tragedy was a skill more than ALS. It was just BLS and compassion. Every person who left the hospital was BLS, treated, cared for, transported, and survived. So we can never forget the basics. We must start on our basics and make sure that they are sound fundamentally, because that's what's also going to save the life. Everything else you're learning today is just another tool in the toolbox. But always go back to your fundamentals, always go back to your basics, always go back to make sure that your patients are cared for correctly. And hopefully none of this, what we got to see, transpires any farther throughout South Florida or the country. So with that being said, I thank you for the time. I appreciate, and congratulations to class number 1.
All right, so at this time, it's pretty much the moment everybody's been waiting for, the students and the families alike. We're going to be presenting them with their certificates of completion for the paramedic program. So as I call your name, please come across. Families, now's the time to get your cameras out. We're not going to let them run across the stage, so embarrass them all you want. Take as many photos as you need to get a good one. So. First student, Hannah Nicole Abel. You're not supposed to be running across the stage, Hannah. It's all good. Nicholas Paul Bates. Spencer Michael Bolander. Zachary Stephen Boravina. Paul Robert Chagnon. Daniel Peter DeGrazia. James Christopher Donnelly. Jordan Timothy Feck. Melinda Ann Gear. Gregory Allen Hall. Jason Andrew Hoskins. Andrew Eugene Johnson. Roger Wade Johnson. Adrian Scott Maharis. Connor Brett Pesci. Jackson Bailey Psalm. Austin Michael Spiegelhalter. Go ahead and stay up here for a second, Austin. Back in. Austin is receiving a special award this evening. He's receiving the Student Achievement Award. At the end of the day, Austin had the highest overall grade in the course. So after all the homework, tests, quizzes, everything like that, all the assignments, Austin was #1 in the class by what, 0.5? It was extremely, extremely close. 0.03. So definitely neck and neck. It's definitely well-deserved and well-earned. Congratulations, Austin. Joseph Michael Shrenyava. Tyler John Topping. Kevin Daniel Wiggins. And last but not least, Ryan Taylor Wolf. All right, at this time, I'd like to invite the class leader, Greg Hall, to come up for his remarks.
I just had a thought as I came up here. Lieutenant Bentz, do you remember my recruit class speech, my introduction speech? You had to stop me, right? I'll try not to take as much time tonight, but what were they thinking? Anyway, good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out tonight to celebrate the graduation of Coral Springs Regional Institute of Public Safety in coordination with Martin County Fire Rescue Paramedic Class #1. Before I get started, I just want to make something real clear, okay? If any of you happen to see a tear roll down my eye, crack in my voice or high pitches in my voice, or maybe an awkward pause in my delivery, it's got nothing to do with any emotions or soft. I'm not soft. It's just that my allergies have been acting up all week, so just want to make that clear before it happens. Now, on behalf of Paramedic Class #1, I would like to thank all of the staff and personnel at every level of Coral Springs Regional Institute of Public Safety and Martin County Fire Rescue for providing us with the tools, information, instruction, motivation, guidance, and opportunity to first be a part of history, because this is a historical event, and second, for facilitating a learning environment that was absolutely pivotal to our individual and collective success throughout this paramedic program. We would also, of course, like to thank our family, friends, loved ones, fellow firefighters, and our pets. Oh, and don't forget our haters. There was a few haters out there. You get credit too. For your dedication and commitment to helping and supporting us throughout this program. Quite frankly, without you guys, many, if not all of us, may not have even been able to keep our sanity throughout this program. We really could not have done it without your love, support, and patience. Class, we are finally here. And I know that may sound a little simple and cliche to many, but they definitely understand what I mean by it. Paramedic. What exactly is a paramedic? Well, simply put, a paramedic is a healthcare professional who responds to the general public's emergencies, your emergencies, because you're our general public, outside of the hospital. It is our professional and ethical duty, as well as essential, that we are always prepared to respond to such emergencies in the most professional, effective, and progressively preventative and corrective manner as we possibly can until we release our patient from our care or deliver our patient to the proper medical facility. I remember when we first walked into our classroom, we were all very familiar with one another, some more than others, so our comfort levels were already quite high. We were all pretty excited, motivated, and I would even venture to say we may have been a bit cocky, maybe a little arrogant, maybe sometimes entitled, students and instructors alike. And we were ready to take on the world. Well, a few bumps, bruises, gripes, groans, and several still arguably questionable demerits later, we all quickly realized just how unprepared we actually were for the challenges that we were set to face in this paramedic program, students and instructors alike. And as I'm sure the instructors and my fellow students would agree, it was not exactly easy acclimating to this set of unexpected challenges. But wait, we're firefighters first, right? Preparing for the unexpected is what we're conditioned and trained to do. It's what we breathe. So what did we do? We checked ourselves. We collectively regrouped and reevaluated our priorities and began to constructively and productively prepare ourselves for every single day moving forward. And here we are. Class, we are on our way to stepping into this world of paramedicine as certified paramedics, a world that will undoubtedly come with new sets of challenges with every single call. But these challenges won't be in the form of scenarios. These challenges will be in the form of real life, and we will be expected to be prepared to take them on the moment the tones go off. We do not want to be standing there at that moment asking ourselves, am I prepared? H. Jackson Brown Jr. once said, the best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. Now let's be clear. We know we will not always be able to resolve the pain or correct the rate or get the tube, but we should always find comfort and confidence in knowing that because of our hard work, our persistent efforts, and our continued preparations, we will always be prepared to do our absolute best, and that's all that can be asked of us. So to my fellow classmates, stay humble, stay professional, continue to learn, and always just do your best to always be prepared paramedics. No doubt? Yeah. That's right. Thank you.
Not done yet.
Okay. So, it was going so great. At least I felt like it was. So now we would like to present our class plaque. We would like to ask Chief Schobel and Chief McGilloway to please come up on the stage. And I want to call Jordan Feck up to present the plaques because Jordan, he actually kind of spearheaded getting the plaques taken care of, making sure we got them on time, and making sure they look awesome. You guys can stand there.
Oh my God, flags there. Take it out front, sir.
Yeah, go out front. Yep. We'll come out with it.
So on behalf of Paramedic Class Number 1, we would like to present Chief Schobel, Chief McGilloway, Coral Springs Regional Institute of Public Safety, and Martin County Fire Rescue with Paramedic Class Number 1's plaque. Thank you.
All right, at this time, we're going to play a, how many minutes, Jordan? 5, maybe? About a 5-minute class video.
Somewhere underground and
All right, at this time, I'd like Martin County Fire Rescue Captain Sean Lissaway to come up, please.
Greg Hall, class leader. We got hired together, and I think we've talked many times about you going to medic school, and here you are, class leader. That's awesome. Good evening. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sean Lissaway, and I'm a captain paramedic for Martin County. I've been asked to join you this evening to speak a little bit about the history and importance of the fire department chaplains and close in prayer for the graduation. Even though I'm not a chaplain, such as Chaplain Irwin and retired Chaplain Chief Wiggins, it's an honor and a privilege to have been asked to pray God's blessing upon you all before this evening. The history of the chaplaincy dates back all the way into the Old Testament times. In the Old Testament book of Joshua, Levite priests accompanied the Israelites' military expedition into Israel. While these priests cannot be considered chaplains with their current meaning, their role as spiritual aides provides a model for modern chaplains to rely upon. The fire service has adopted this model as it recognized the need for filling the spiritual void and comfort those who were either technicians that helped during an unfortunate tragic event or the family members that may have just lost a loved one. And just like the honor guard and bags and pipes, the chaplaincy upholds the tradition of the fire service, especially for closing in prayer, such as an occasion like this. Men and women, you will deal with life and death situations. You're going to realize that being a paramedic is humbling because there will be times that you can't save life. Recognize that God is in control. He is sovereign over all these things, and that's our comfort. What's the greatest enemy? It's ourselves. Pride and complacency are the natural tendencies of the human heart. The hardest thing that I've had to deal with and continue to deal with is to remain humble and teachable. So I challenge you to strive to be humble and teachable. Press on to be a learner. Fight against complacency. We are getting paid to be skilled, effective fire and medical technicians. And it's a skill that needs to be honed. So keep up your education. Strive to be the best medic you can be. Don't become a disservice to your patients or to your crew. The Word of God says a lot about being humble and teachable. And here's a few verses. Philippians 2:3. Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind regard one another as more important than yourselves. Or Proverbs 29:23. A man's pride will bring him low, but a humble spirit will obtain honor. And James 4:6. But he gives a greater grace. This is God. He gives a greater grace. Therefore, it says, God is opposed to the proud, but gives grace to the humble. There's a big difference between being confident and being cocky, and we all know those, right? Let's bow our heads and pray. Lord, we thank you so much for the opportunity for asking your blessing upon these new medics. We pray for wisdom and discernment as they now get to perform in this new role. We pray that they would be mindful of knowing that you're in control of both life and death, and that is our comfort and gives us peace and endurance throughout this career. Give them humility in mind to accept advice from veteran medics and a teachable spirit as they strive to become the very best they can be. Lord, we also lift up those who are currently in our department or who have retired that are dealing with medical trials. Comfort them, heal them. You are a God that is in control and places trials in our lives to humble us so that we would cry out to you. Answer our prayers as we bow before you. And we pray all this in Christ's name. Amen. Thank you.
All right, before we wrap things up, I just want to say thank you again to all the friends and families and loved ones for supporting these now graduates through the 13-month-long program, over 1,100 hours of instruction. I want to say thank you to the students. You all have been remarkable, made this an amazing journey, And please, it's just one more step forward along your paths, so keep up the good work. I would like to invite Fire Medic Chris Bradley for one last final class dismissal.
Good evening. I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank everyone that put up with them for the last 14 months. They came home probably every Thursday pretty pissed off, and I'm the sole reason for that. So I want to thank everybody who put up with them, kept them going. I want to tell you guys congratulations. As cliche as it sounds, your learning doesn't stop here. There was no paramedic involved in the training of U21 that was the same way throughout the class that graduated paramedic school that way. It was the classes and the experience that they all went through after they graduated. So don't stop learning. Be the best that you can be. I told you guys during the class, it doesn't matter what you do. Your team red, your team blue. Be the best at whatever it is that you do, regardless of that job. So go home, study hard, knock the National Registry square out of the park, and you guys are dismissed. Congratulations.